Labour leader Anthony Albanese has been busily reshuffling his team in anticipation of an election, perhaps later this year. Secret footage smuggled out of Labour Party headquarters has been handed exclusively to outsiders, capturing the final moments of that tense shadow cabinet reshuffle meeting. Much has been written about the need for Albo to lift his game, with reports that Albanese is just one slip away from meeting his Karl Rove moment, a reference and comparison to the final nail that sealed the coffin over the leadership career of the hapless Kim Beazley, when he mixed up the grieving TV presenter Rove McManus with White House strategist Karl Rove. Could happen to anyone, I guess. Beazley was toast, and 12 months later, Kevin Rudd became our Prime Minister. Politics can be brutal, and were it not for Kevin Rudd's leadership rules, Albo would now be being put out to pasture after an extremely unimpressive 20 months as leader. A couple of points are worth making. Firstly, as I wrote in my weekly column in the Australian Financial Review yesterday, chess aficionados would probably call this the Albo's Gambit, cunningly moving one pawn to the middle of the board, then sacrificing the adjacent pawn to gain control of the centre. In this case, Albo sacrifices the lefty climate change-obsessed alarmist Mark Butler in order to move the energy and environment portfolio more to the centre by appointing the so-called moderate Chris Bowen. I'm sure it looked very good on paper. Alas, I'm not sure Albo has actually bothered to think that many moves ahead. The reshuffle clearly reeks of desperation. You can smell the fear in the air. Albo knows full well that climate change alarmism is the albatross around his neck, but he doesn't have the faintest clue what to do about it. The only, and I repeat, the only move that would have achieved his goal would have been to move Joel Fitzgibbon into that critical position. In that one swift move, Albo would have made it clear to the electorate that Labor can still be serious about blue-collar jobs and cheap energy. Sure, the loonies would have screamed and he would have had a fight on in his own electorate against the Greens, but he's going to have that anyway. But it would have given him one last shot at becoming Prime Minister, but that option has now all but closed. The move was obviously a humiliating loss for Mark Butler, being punted from his beloved climate portfolio. He's a full-blown climate cultist, so no doubt it won't be long before we start hearing great reset and build back better garbage from Mark Butler about using the levers of the COVID pandemic to heal the planet from catastrophic climate change.
If we look at the planet as if it were a patient, we can see that our activities have been damaging her immune system, and she has been struggling to function and thrive due to the strain we have put on her vital organs.